What is up, everyone? Crunchy Frog here, and Season 1 from Modern Warfare 2 dropped back on November 16th, and it brought with it a huge suite of improvements, feature additions, and content offerings such as maps and guns. Season 1 also brought the much-awaited DMZ and Warzone 2.0 game modes as well. The update teased that a now standard for the franchise mid-season update titled Season 1 Reloaded would also be right around the corner. So today, we will discuss all of those changes coming to Modern Warfare 2 on December 14th, as well as what it could mean for the game. I'll be covering all the major points, but I'll also be linking the Infinity Ward blog post in the description so you guys can kind of go in there and check out absolutely everything in detail and read through everything at your own pace. As always, if you do enjoy the video, make sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe for more Modern Warfare 2 news and information. So without further ado, let's get right into it. To begin with, the update is coming on December 14th at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 1 p.m. for us East Coast folks, and it will come in the form of a patch to both games, Warzone and Modern Warfare 2. It will come with a double XP and double weapon XP for the weekend that will be live from the 15th to the 19th on all platforms, and it'll start a day early if you are a PlayStation user. So for you guys, that will be the 14th to the 19th. The biggest change that is coming with this update are raids are finally coming to Call of Duty. So obviously for years, MMO games and games like Destiny, games like that have all had raids, right? That's the major end game content where you put your skills to the test and compete for great rewards. So they're finally coming to COD, and I'm really interested to see how this pans out. The moment they revealed that kind of early on in pre-release, I was kind of floored. I couldn't believe that it was actually a thing, and it's shaping up and sounding really cool. So I'm super excited to dive in and see what it's like, but essentially, the first raid will be titled Adamgrad, and it will be a three-player activity, and it sounds like it'll put you in the shoes of Gaz, Price, and Farah as they're tracking down, it says, missing members of their team, and it will continue the story from the single player, so, it'll be elaborating on the story, building out the world, stuff like that. In order to actually participate in that raid, you'll actually need a raid pass to enter, and in order to get one of those raid passes, you'll need to complete a specific daily challenge, either in multiplayer or Spec Ops. It hasn't detailed what exactly that means, but I assume it'll just be, a challenge listed there on the left-hand side. Maybe it'll be kill 20 operators with headshots, or, beat a specific Spec Ops mission 3 times or something like that. The next possible option is place within the top 20 in any Warzone 2.0 Battle Royale playlist. So again, these don't sound like they're easy gimmies either, right? You have to place in the top 20, and while that's obviously not as hard as getting a win, it certainly means that you actively have to try to get this raid pass. Finally, the last way to get the raid pass is you have to use the final extraction helicopter in DMZ with at least $30,000 in cash on you. So again, not super challenging, not prohibitively difficult by any means, but definitely something that you're going to need to try for. So these raid passes aren't being given out willy-nilly here. And the raid passes will actually work for an entire week. So once you get it, say you get it on a Tuesday, you'll have that for 7 days until the next Tuesday, wherein you can complete the raid as many times as you want during that week, it sounds like. And they do mention that kits from Spec Ops will be used. So Infinity Ward advises you level up those kits, get familiar with it, build it out. So it sounds like you might have to play some Spec Ops beforehand to kind of get yourself actually geared up and ready for this raid. Much like in Destiny or World of Warcraft, right? You have to be ready and prepared for this raid. It's not something you just boot up the game for the first time in 2 months and just hop right in and do it. So I'm looking forward to kind of getting in there with my squad and beefing up maybe on Wednesday and getting ready to raid Thursday or Friday, prepare ahead of time and get right into it. According to the website, basically a synopsis of the raid is you will uncover the secrets held within a highly fortified enemy facility. Again, you're playing as Gas, Price, and Farah, looking for their missing teammates. So I'm assuming Soap and Price are somewhere. Or Soap and Ghost, rather. It's also stated that, again, it does progress the story in some meaningful way. So that's nice as well to see, and them kind of fulfill that process of continuing the single-player story. Completing the raid will unlock a familiar-faced operator in multiplayer in Warzone, and later on in the blog post, it does go on to confirm that is gas. So you can actually get gas this year without paying for them, which is awesome. And once you complete the raid, you'll also get access to a harder version. It says a harder version playlist of the raid that will, quote, test even veteran operators. So I'm assuming this is something like Nightfall raids or Grandmaster raids, stuff like that in Destiny that are just essentially harder versions of the raid. And I'm assuming maybe that's just for the challenge of it, but it could also provide some rewards. They don't specify any rewards, just that it'll be a harder challenge. So if you do the raid and it was way too easy for you and you think you're much better than that, you can give it a go in a much harder setting. Also, it states that plenty of intel that awards cosmetic items and information about the Modern Warfare 2 universe will be found throughout the raid. So definitely search in back rooms, look around, stuff like that to find intel. You might get some cosmetic items and you might learn more about the story, which is always cool. Overall, it seems like a great list of rewards that you actually get for playing this raid and a lot of incentive to actually jump in there and do it. So I'm super excited. I will be playing it for sure, and I'll be sure to stream it over on my Twitch channel, which will be linked in the description, so you guys can come out and watch myself and my group of friends that I always play with try to attempt this raid and give it a go, as well as maybe find out a strategy for yourself. So make sure to stop over and we'd love to have you out. Next up, after the raid, the next biggest thing here is they are adding shipment to Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer. So they already kind of told us about this at the beginning of Season 1 that we would be getting this, but this is the second map that will be added to the game. Essentially, it's just a reimagining of the map on a cargo ship from the campaign. So I don't think the cargo containers move like they do in the campaign. Hopefully, I'm really hoping. But at the very least, it's set in that setting. And of course, the blog post does mention camo grinding several times throughout the course of the blog post. So, that's, again, them trying to incentivize, one, the camo grinders, but also the Warzone players that here's an easy map that you can play so you don't have to touch multiplayer and you could just hop back into Warzone, because Call of Duty devs no longer give two shits about Modern Warfare multiplayer, unfortunately. But Warzone is the precious child nowadays. So, but that's cool that map's coming. The edges of the map are no longer accessible as they were in last game. They make special mention of that. So I'm assuming they received a lot of negative feedback last year in Vanguard, how you could kind of hop outside the map and run around and stuff like that. So that's no longer possible. I'm assuming you'll just fall into the ocean. There's also a holiday version of shipment, as there was last year, and that will be returning from December 21st to January 4th. The Infinity Ward blog also specifically mentions that no special creatures, referencing Krampus, will interfere with the gameplay and everything. So they are mentioning that they're keeping it grounded, which I'm super happy for. I love that they're trying everything they can to keep this game grounded well into Season 1. So we made it farther than I thought we would. So no Krampus this year, but it'll still be fun and it'll be a nice festive touch. I personally have a week off right before Christmas, so I think this will be awesome to hop in and play some of that. Hopefully some double XP that weekend as well. So next up are the Warzone changes. Now it mentions Building 21. I'm not sure if that's a new POI that's being added or a current POI that's just they built in inside of the building, for sure. But it does say that you will have to find a way into this restricted, redacted, and redacted. So that's literally the sentence. I read it right off their website. I'm not sure what that means. I'm assuming, again, it's kind of like the bunkers in past games. You have to find some kind of key card or means of access, go in there and, bunch of secrets, maybe good loot, stuff like that. It doesn't elaborate too much, but that's just my personal take on it. They'll also be adding the Warzone Cup and Mini Royale as limited time modes. Warzone Cup is basically just a Rocket League type game. I think it's 3v3 on quads. Everybody's on a quad, and there's a pulse ability that kind of knocks people out of the way, much like Rocket League, when you hit other cars and send them flying or destroy them. There's also shock charges. You could throw a shock charge to kind of disable them. So again, basically COD's version of Rocket League. Sounds pretty fun. I might actually give it a go personally. Maybe not for a long haul, but definitely for a fun, maybe on a weekend. You can read more about it on the website, with full details and breakdown of how the mode will work, but I'll spare you that details right now. And there's also Mini Warzone that I mentioned. Essentially, this is just the same thing we've seen before, right? It's a mini Warzone experience on a smaller portion of the map with less people. Next up, we have the DMZ edition. So, Building 21 is also being touted in DMZ. Now, originally, I thought that this was going to be a full new map, but I think it's just a new locale that will need special means to access. So, again, maybe a special key. Maybe you'll need to kill someone to get it, then get a special key. Something along those lines, right? And it does state that only the strongest operators may survive, let alone be able to access this facility. So I'm assuming, again, it's going to be kind of like a stronghold on steroids. My personal take on it, we'll have to see once the game launches, but it does state that it will contain higher tier contraband, will appear throughout the building, along with, quote, other secrets. So take that for what you will. I'm not sure what that means, but in the screenshot, it does look like broadcast. So it looks like the inside of broadcast, like the actual newsroom portion. It has the building overlooking. I'll try to get a screenshot up on screen if future me remembers to edit that in. But yeah, essentially it looks like it will be broadcast. I'm assuming the whole building. So also this is a plea to devs to please bring broadcast to multiplayer. Just saying. Next up, just some general additions that will be added to the game. 2 new operators, Gaz and Klaus operators, are joining. So Gaz can be unlocked via a raid, as I said above, and the Klaus is, of course, a store operator. So he looks cool. He kind of looks like Santa, but realistic, and he'll be purchasable through the store. But I really want to give kudos to Infinity Ward again. I know this is only halfway through Season 1. We still have probably 10 seasons left to go in this 2-year game. But so far, they've had several chances to kind of jump the shark and do the Call of Duty thing where they have Godzilla fighting King Kong in multiplayer. But they've kept it somewhat realistic, right? Even this Santa Claus type operator looks very mil-sim, just with like a cool little Santa's hat on. And he has, obviously, Klaus' name to him, but overall he has cool military background and everything like that. Still feels Modern Warfare-y, and that ties in with the no Krampus that I mentioned before. Just really nice that they're keeping their feet on the ground, so to speak, and at least for now. Obviously, like I said, by Season 3 we could be staring down the barrel of a ray gun and fighting, the guys from Ghostbusters or something, but for right now they're keeping it grounded, and I'm really happy about that. Next up, as everyone's probably aware, the Chimera assault rifle is being added. Essentially, it's just the Honey Badger, which, as you guys know from previous CODs and the campaign and other games that have had the Honey Badger, basically it's just an M13, but a little shorter range, and it has an integral suppressor. So kind of has a suppressor built in all the time. And they do mention that it has lower range, stuff like that. So it's kind of a SMG assault rifle hybrid by the sounds of it. So that will be unlocked via a weapon challenge or a store bundle. So I'm not sure what the weapon challenge will be. They don't elaborate, but you could get it for free or you could buy it through a store. Next up, they also are adding a group up social feature that's coming to group you up with, quote, community members with similar interests both in and out of game. So it basically, from reading through the post, and again, I'll link that in the description so you guys can read through all of that exclusively at your own pace, but it sounds like it's basically just clans or regiments, I think they were called in previous games. So, you build up to 500 players and you can use that to matchmake with them, set up looking for groups, stuff like that. And this time you can filter by what your interests are. I will be actually making my own group, so feel free to comment below or hit me up on any of my social media platforms to ask if you would like to join. I'd be happy to have whoever wants in there. They even have groups that are set up for a streamer, so we could set it up that it's actually for myself. And we could get as many people in there and hopefully get some games with you guys. I'd love that. So next up, obviously, they're going to be adding in a bunch of bundles. None of the bundles that I could see on the website look too crazy. Again, Klaus was the biggest one. He actually looks kind of cool, I'm not going to lie, but no crazy off-the-wall skeleton operators or, like I was making a joke before, Ghostbusters or some crazy stuff like that yet. So that's good. And if you are into that sort of thing and you like buying those bundles, those, operator packs, those more will be added with Season 1 Reloaded. Another big thing is Combat Record is now making its way to Warzone as well. It was added in Season 1 to multiplayer, but now it's coming to Warzone. Stats will not track from before the update. I think they said that on Twitter. as well. So basically, anything you've done since November 16th until now has not been tracked, but on December 14th will be like the first day you boot up Warzone. So all your stats will track from here on out. That's super great for those guys. Again, I don't play Warzone much anymore, but I'm super happy for them that they finally have stats in there and hopefully very robust stats, but we'll have to see. And then obviously the big one, they didn't detail it in this blog post, but they did say the patch notes will be coming out on release day. But obviously there's going to be a bunch of bug fixes, weapon tuning, weapon buffs, weapon nerfs, stuff like that coming to the game, as there always are in these updates, and that will be coming out post-launch. So I don't have those for you today. I can only speculate on what will be nerfed, buffed, etc. We're not going to do that in this video. The one thing I will say is I hope they fix the bug that stops Xbox players from modifying their classes in between games if they are not the host in a group. That is absolutely the most annoying thing ever, especially in a game so centered around checking camo challenges in between each match and adding stuff. Just please fix that, Infinity Ward. Please have that on the bug list as of obviously Wednesday. But that about wraps it up, guys. So I want to thank you all again for sticking with me. And if you enjoyed this roundup, make sure to leave a like and definitely subscribe if you enjoyed this type of content. I try to do breakdowns of every major update to Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. I do some Let's Plays, some other COD commentaries, as well as some other fun videos up here on the channel. I also stream on Twitch, like I mentioned above, so make sure to check me out there. All of my links are in the description below. So that about wraps it up, guys. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys on the battlefield here come December 14th. Let me know in the comment section below what you're most looking forward to in this update. But that about wraps things up, guys, and you all have a great night.